Hey guys, this is Wasabi Girl, and I'm here with Plazmah, who's filming, and we just got back from Ilderton, which was quite the experience. To start off with, it was really cool just driving into Ilderton. I mean, we've never been there before, and just like when you turn the corner, the first thing you see is a sign saying, "Congratulations to Scott and Tessa, our world and Olympic champions," and like every single place you go to has a sign with something similar like that, congratulating them. And like we were just going to drive down the street where the parade was happening, and you just see a sea of people wearing red shirts, which was insane. You see a sea of Canadian flags. Like, I've never seen that many Canadian flags in my life, and just so many people milling around, kids,
lots and lots of kids.
Yeah, lots of kids, lots of adults, and everyone's wearing red. It was insane. I couldn't even believe it. And so we basically parked and, found a place to walk, and we found like the intersection that we knew that the parade was coming through, so we just kind of sat there, stood there, and kind of held our spot so we could get good pictures and videos for when they came by.
So when the parade actually started in Ilderton, they had a couple of torchbearers actually from the Olympics. They had their torches and they were there, and they had a marching band, they had a guy playing bagpipes, and it was this big production, and finally they had horse-drawn carriages. The first one was actually carrying their families, so it was like Scott's family, Tessa's family, and FYI, Jessica was in that carriage too. Woo! So, and then the second carriage had Tessa and Scott in it, and the carriage actually stopped right in front of us because there was a guy who was standing in front of us, and he had like a full conversation with Scott.
Scotty, hi Dad. You still golfing? Okay, call you. That's because you talked to Taves. You brought me luck.
Remember when I used to make fun of you for liking the horse?
Yeah.
So you'll see there's like Scott talking to some dude, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's right there, and I got the whole conversation. And I think they were talking about...
It was like some sports team that won, and I think it was like Scott didn't originally like that team, and this guy who was talking to him did, and he was like, hey, they won, da, da, da.
Yeah, they were having a whole conversation. I was like, this is pretty sweet. So right after the parade finished, it's like everyone totally cleared out, so we were like, okay, let's head down to the actual arena and see what we can do about getting tickets. And that was a whole crazy drama that we will get into next.
So we made our way to the fairgrounds, and basically there were tons of people milling around. Most people didn't really know what was going on, and we were kind of in the same boat. Like, there were a few lines being formed in different places, and we didn't really understand what each of the lines were. So what we wanted is we needed to buy tickets, because we didn't have any tickets yet for the actual, presentations and the speeches and everything. And we were pretty sure that the actual tickets for inside the main arena were already sold out. So we needed to get the cheaper tickets that were in the building like right next to where the arena was, the curling building, and they would have the whole ceremony being live streamed on a big screen. So we wanted to get those tickets. So we kind of went to a random sideline, assuming that was the one that was where to get those tickets. It ended up that it was actually the line for autographs, because Scott and Tessa were doing autographs at that time. So then we're like, okay, whatever, we'll just stay here because we're already in line and we want to do autographs with Scott and Tessa. But then maybe we were like halfway up the line and still quite a few people to go. They kind of made us disperse. They said, Scott and Tessa are done with autographs right now. They'll be back at 8 p.m., so come back then. So we were like, okay, well, that kind of was a bust. Then we just finally found the line for where you could go into the second arena where the overflow seats were and where we could watch the presentation on the big screen. So we found that line and we waited there and we bought tickets, and they were pretty cheap, like $2 each. And then we got to go in, and then the fun began.
So when we got inside the overflow area, they started doing the presentation, and there was a lot of like VIPs and dignitaries giving out awards and stuff like that. But
to my buddies, I don't know if any of them are here. Anybody?
oh god, his buddies.
Oh, the bad group kept me in mind, constantly hitting on Tessa every time I brought her out.
To the Ilderton community, thank you for embracing me. I know I'm not technically one of your own, but
I'll talk about some of the stuff that we didn't catch on video for whatever reason. So there was a lot of stuff Tracy Wilson talked about, just like talking about how much she loved Tessa and Scott and when she saw them for the first time and all that fun stuff. And it was really cool to hear her talking so positively about them. For some reason, I don't know why, me and Wasabi Girl totally fixated on the fact that they had Tessa and Scott sitting in a love seat, and then at first I was like, no, it's 2 chairs.
I was like, no, it's a love seat.
And she was like, no, it's a love seat. They put them in a love seat. And I was just like, oh, Ilderton. And then, what else? Oh, and then they were, like, Tessa and Scott did a bit of a speech too. And Scott mentioned how, like, you know, back when we started, I was only in it to, like, hold her hand, hold a pretty girl's hand. Actually, that's pretty much the same story now.
He was like, we both, like, liked an excuse to hold each other's hands. And then he, like, paused after everyone laughed. And he was like, and that's still true today. And everyone laughed again.
Yeah, so that was really cute. We got to see all of their parents talk. So, like, his dad was talking and was really long-winded, and his mom was like, it's hot in here, hurry it up. And then Tessa's dad did like a really nice speech too. They actually got this trophy made for Scott and Tessa, the city of Ilderton, and or it's not a city, it's a town, but they got this trophy made for them, and then they announced that trophy would sort of be a bigger version of it would be put in all the entranceways to Ilderton. And so after they mentioned that, Scott was like, oh, well, now with this this sign, it says, like, welcome to Ilderton, home of Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir. He's like, great, now everyone, people always ask, like, you know, what did you say at the end of your Olympic free skate? Did you ask her to marry her or something? And he's like, no, but it's like, now with this sign, everyone's going to think, like, that's even worse. They're going to think that she's, like, living at my house with me. And everyone just started cracking up.
Maybe like the dating rumors are gonna get even worse.
Because now it's gonna look like she's living with me. But yeah, and there was just like lots of cute moments, and they were adorable. And also, at that point we noticed, we were like, oh, Tessa's wearing that like necklace with a ring around it. So yeah, it was cute to see them talking, and nice to see them interact with their families and all that stuff.
Okay, so once the actual presentations and everything were over, we pretty much went right back to where the autographs were being signed, and we were pretty close to the front of the line. So we got to see them pretty quickly, and to say one thing, it was like really hard to be normal and calm around them, because it's just weird to be walking up and like seeing them right there signing stuff, so that was crazy. I don't even know how we held it together, but we did. And like, we didn't say anything about the calm or anything, like we were just, there was a million things we could have said, but you know, we had the conversation go in like a certain direction. We talked to Scott about how on the way up, on the drive up, we actually were listening to Hail the Villain, and he totally loved us for that. He was like going crazy. He was like, oh my god, there's 2 more villains here, we have 2 villains, and he loved that. He told us how he went to their concert like last week in Windsor. And then Tessa tried to get in on the conversation, and she was like, "Oh, do you guys listen to Hale & Oates?" And we kind of just looked at each other, and we're like, "No."
I know, we were just like, no.
And she was kind of like, "Aw," and Scott was kind of teasing her, like, they don't listen to your music. And then they signed, we had like 2 awesome things that we'll take pictures of that they signed, and we also got to hold their medals, which was really cool, and Scott took our picture for us. And he was so excited that we were Hail the Villain fans that he gave us high fives twice. Like, he gave us a high five the first time he found out, and then as we were leaving, he was just like, "Give me another high five." He was totally into it. He was really, really nice. So, I don't know, it was just really crazy. We didn't really know what to think, but it was awesome.
Yeah, it was good times, y'all. So, look forward to our post.
Yay!